You're about to listen to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host Kelly and the author of When Everyone Shines But You, a mental health and self-acceptance blogger and a recovering darkness addict. I have experienced intense anxiety, deep depression and life trauma, but I'm coming out of the other side now. Darkness was a comfort zone for me for a long time, and it felt safer than the light. So in this podcast I share with you my journey into the light and how I move through challenge in an empowering way. I'll share with you tools and nurturing ways to embrace your humanity. I was once a shy, scared introvert, afraid to speak, but that's all changing. Let's take this journey together and learn to fly. Oh, hi there. Welcome back to Kelly Martin Speaks. I'm your host, Kelly Martin, and this is episode 107. I apologise. Well, no, I don't, for laughing at the beginning of this podcast. I'm laughing primarily because I've been going through a bit of a tumultuous time this morning as I'm recording. And the topic of the podcast is kind of really resonating with my own life pattern and changes right now. And I'll go more into this as we go into the podcast. So right now, it probably feels for many of you listening like the world has turned upside down and inside out. Oh, I can't even speak today, but let's just roll with it. So nothing feels familiar. Nothing seems like it's in its right place, and nothing is working perhaps the way it once did. In fact, it probably feels more confusing and more uncomfortable than you've ever had it before. This is because the world, as we know it, is changing on an epic level. Now, I keep hearing the terms we have to get used to, this new normal, and many people say they hate that term. I don't think normal is going to be here for quite some time, and when we say normal, what do we really mean? We tend to mean comfortable, certain, known, and something we're used to. As I said a little while ago, the world is going through many streams of chaos. Many waves of fear. Yet within this chaos and fear are great opportunities for change also. In fact, for real long-lasting change, we often have to go through an upside-down and inside-out world. Now, if everything were still or calm, nothing would change. And perhaps as a species, on a huge level, many of us have been crying out for change on a unconscious level. Maybe we wanted change to be more comfortable. Maybe we hoped we would be in control a bit more. But that's just not the case with big change. It comes as a whirlwind or a strong, penetrating current of water that clears away everything in its path to make way for the new. And believe it or not, at this time, abundance, creativity, and beauty are awakening. But we may not be able to see this side of this topsy-turvy world we're in right now. Now, in your own life right now, you probably just don't know. You may not know who you are, what is becoming, how to live at ease, what to do. You may feel incredibly uneasy and uncertain. Now, funnily enough, I know people who have managed to get back to a weird sense of normal during this climate of change. I'm not entirely sure how they do this, or whether they've actually got the purpose of this change, but they're meeting with people from their family, their friends, they're going on holiday. All those things that serve as a distraction at times, they still do. And it always surprises me because I find this time very unnerving, very strange, definitely uncertain, and it can feel a challenge to keep my balance, to stay grounded. I feel somewhat awkward at times. It's like I'm trying to see in the dark or walk through treacle. And as I started this podcast off laughing, I was laughing because I was halfway recording the podcast and my housemate interrupted me, even though I told him I was recording. And I flew into an instant rage. I was so angry. I was like a child. I was a 5-year-old child having a hissy fit. And then I started crying. And then I started laughing. And at the moment, I'm going through the perimenopause. And it's just started, I think. I'm going through a lot of symptoms. And I don't know my own mind, my own emotions from one moment to the next. And it's like going through old stuff and clearing it all out for the new to come in. And a friend sent me a meme on social media recently, and it really explained to me how 2020 can feel. It was of an image of the boy Atreal from the movie The Never Ending Story, which is one of my favourite childhood movies. And it was comparing ideas of 2020. Now, I'll have this on my blog if you want to see the image. Now, in the first image was how Atreal felt at the beginning of 2020. He was riding the luck dragon with great enthusiasm and excitement, flying into 2020 on a wave of fun. In the second image was his actual experience of 2020, where he was in the darkness with his horse in the swamp, and he was stuck in the swamp and couldn't move, and he felt really scared and sad, and I thought, yeah, I can definitely say at times this is what 2020 has felt like for me. And along with perimenopause, it just sort of adds into it. It's like going through a huge life change as a woman and also going through a huge global change as a human. I miss the ease at doing things, the ease at going out shopping, the ease at flying up to see my mum, wondering when I'll see her next. I miss my friend who is staying in her own family bubble for safety. But I must accept, as I have always been guided to accept, that right now is how it is meant to be. Because if it were meant to be otherwise, it simply would. Now, like me, you might be struggling right now. I get it, I truly do. All we can do is let go. Trust that this weird, topsy-turvy world is here for a purpose, and remember that life is happening even if it doesn't feel like the life we once knew or even a life we want right now. At times you will personally feel like you've been tipped upside down and pulled inside out, and the key during this time is to not resist it. Because it's when we resist these changes and confusing times that we suffer. We need to let go of trying to control it, and we need not to be afraid because it will all turn out the way it's supposed to. And that new life, that new world, may be exactly what we ordered on a soul level. Now, at this time, we are not only being offered the gift of change, but the gift of aliveness. And aliveness feels exhilarating. Aliveness feels uncertain and unknown. And this is what life is. Deadness is the known, the certain, the controlled. Now, we didn't come into this world to live life as walking corpses, but as fully functioning, alive human beings. We're no longer on the easy, gentle carousel ride, but instead we've been flung onto a roller coaster for a time. Now, the seasons on planet Earth turn from winter into spring, spring into summer, etc. But for them to do this, they go through the same process we're all going through right now. Everything dies off, changes. It's uncertain. We go through what I call the in-between time. That time between summer and autumn, when there is a level of discomfort in the air until we are fully thrust into the new season. We also experience the same thing when we go from darkness into light. And so right now we're going through darkness or deadness into light and aliveness. You will be okay. You will handle these changes. Sometimes you may feel like things are falling apart and you can't cope. But you will cope, even if you get help to cope. And the more your world feels in chaos, the more it feels out of your control, the greater is the change that's happening for you. This is a good thing, even if it may not feel that way right now. One thing we all need to remember at this time is that we can find an anchor that will hold us. It can be anything from a daily mindful walk to meditation to something that has a routine to it. And this will help when the world or your personal world has gone off the rails a bit. And I know it's so hard to cope with all these changes, but you'll get through this. And I send you my love, and please, if you are struggling too much, get help. Call a friend or a family member and phone your doctor or a mental health helpline. You don't have to do this alone if this topsy-turvy, weird world is too much for you. Take care. Thanks for listening to this episode of Kelly Martin Speaks. If you have a question or topic you are struggling with and would like me to answer on an upcoming podcast episode, please get in touch. Your name will be confidential. Email me at kellymartinspeaks@gmail.com or message me on Facebook via my page Kelly Martin Speaks. And don't forget, if you feel that others are passing you by and the not good enough voice is screaming loudly, pop by kellymartin.co.uk to find out all about my books, including Book 1, When Everyone Shines But You, and my services and my products, which will be coming up soon. You can also support my channel via my podcast page on my website, kellymartinspeaks.co.uk. Via PayPal, you can give me a monthly donation if you like, or you can simply buy me a coffee via Ko-fi. Until next time, bye for now. You've been listening to my podcast, Kelly Martin Speaks. I'd really appreciate your feedback. If you're listening on iTunes, please give me a review. It helps me be seen and heard by those that need it. You can also follow me on kellymartinspeaks.co.uk, where you can read my blogs, find out about my book series, and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. I'm also all over social media, so search for me via Kelly Martin Speaks on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. I'll speak to you next week. Bye.